president's great speech at the Selma anniversary. There he is.
What could be more American than what happened in this place? Our march is not yet finished, but we're getting closer.
He also invoked that scathing Department of Justice report on Ferguson that we just talked to Ruud Pundit about last hour. He said, to reject the notion that racism is no longer an issue in America. Or you could look at the treason that was simultaneously happening with the Senate Republicans writing directly to Iran to tell them not to do that.
There's that.
Nuclear deal, because the black guy's not going to be here much longer. He said, we don't need the Ferguson report to know that's not true. We just need to open our eyes and our ears, our hearts to know this nation's racial history still casts its long shadow upon us. We know that the march is not yet over, the race is not yet won, that reaching that blessed destination where we are judged by the content of our character requires admitting as much. He noted race relations have come a long way since Selma, pointing to major progress in gender and marriage equality. What happened in Ferguson may not be unique, but it's no longer endemic or sanctioned by law and custom, and before the civil rights movement, it most surely was. The president.
The Americans who crossed this bridge, they were not physically imposing, but they gave courage to millions.
And then he took aim at Congress for failing to reauthorize the Voting Rights Act.
Because of campaigns like this, the Voting Rights Act was passed. 100 members of Congress have come here today to honor people who are willing to die for the right to protect it. If we want to honor this day, let that 100 go back to Washington and gather 400 more, and together pledge to make it their mission to restore that law this year. That's how we honor those on this bridge.
Yeah. And he also talked about not voting. He said, what is our excuse today for not voting? How do we so casually discard the right for which so many fought? How do we so fully give away our power, our voice in shaping America's future? The president...
We know the march is not yet over. We know the race is not yet won.
Yeah, and somebody wrote a piece. We were talking. This was disgusting. I mean, I don't know who went. A couple of it. First of all, like nobody was going. Then there was so much publicity. A couple of Republicans went. Charles Cook wrote in National Review, on the 50th anniversary of the historic March for Civil Rights, Republicans are largely no-shows by electing to skip the proceedings and to send a former president and a handful of congressional representatives in lieu. The Republican leadership suggests it does not recognize what Selma represents within America's long history and history of public dissent. And he finishes by saying it would be unthinkable for the leadership of the Republican Party to ignore July 4th. It would be unthinkable for its luminaries not to celebrate the anniversary of the March to Montgomery either. Where have you gone, Speaker Boner? A movement turns its lonely eyes to you. He's at a tavern, I'm going to guess. Yeah. He's at a tavern or contemplating his next treasonous move.
Sure.
Okay. But I understand the point that as a fellow person of color, he should be concerned.
It's a different kind of color.
Okay. It's a color. Orange is a color, too. Yeah. Representative John Lewis, who the president called his hero.
If someone had told me when we were crossing this bridge that one day I would be back here introducing the first African-American president, I would have said, you're crazy, you're out of your mind, you don't know what to talk about.
John Lewis, one more time.
Get out there and push and pull until we redeem the soul of America.
Oh, John Lewis. God, you know what I remember? I was having a flashback. Do you remember when someone spit on him during the whole, and I think yelled a racial epithet at him? And you remember during the whole Obamacare fight? Remember he was walking up the Capitol steps?
Yep. It's disgraceful.
So speaking of the Ferguson report we talked to Ruud Pundit about, just... really disgusting reading if you have the time. U.S. Attorney General Holder said on Friday the Justice Department would use its full authority to demand police reforms in Ferguson, including possibly going so far as to dismantling the department accused of racial bias. He said, we're prepared to use all the power we have to ensure the situation changes there. Asked if that included dismantling the Ferguson Police Department, he said, that's what's necessary. We're prepared to do that. Yeah. I'm sure there won't be any outcry on the right about that. Ferguson city officials will meet with the Justice Department in about 2 weeks to begin negotiating an agreement on reforms. According to the Ferguson mayor, if the two parties cannot reach a consensus, the Justice Department can sue and force reforms. So I think so far, did they finally fire a couple of people involved in those?
Yeah, there were a couple of people.
Emails or
like a clerk and 2 other people.
Yes, because the Hillary email thing, much more important. Okay, so Jeb Bush, who also had his own server and used a private account and also selectively released emails, he says he denounced the Affordable Care Act and its exchanges on Saturday, calling instead for a market-oriented alternative.
Oh, all right.
We don't know what that is, but
it sounds,
yeah.
You know.
He said, we've created a monstrosity of consolidating power in Washington, D.C., suppressing wages, making it uncertain for investment. In fact, the greatest job suppressor in this so-called recovery that we've gone through is Obamacare. Wow. That takes some chutzpah at the bottom of this piece. Bush's criticism of Obamacare as the greatest job suppressor in the so-called recovery is interesting, given that the country is experiencing the greatest period of job growth
I was thinking
in
that.
2 decades. On Friday, of course, as we mentioned, the Labor Department announced the economy gained 295,000 jobs in February, ticking the unemployment rate down to 5.5%. How do they still get away with saying this Obamacare is the biggest job killer? How do you explain that? In 2 decades.
Yeah, the lamestream media lets them get away with it.
Yeah.
And Chuck Todd doesn't ask them about it.
Really? I didn't even watch that. Could I have my Russian music? I was going to get, I don't know if you saw the update. The suspect in the Russian politicians that, the one that criticized Putin.
Yeah.
He blew himself up. So clumsy, those Putin critics.
Oh my God.
A suspect in the murder of the opposition politician Boris Nemtsov.
We should have waited until Jim got here for you to pronounce that.
I'll do it again.
Okay.
Blew himself up as the police closed in on him overnight. Because, Putin is very troubled by this whole thing. Wants to get to the bottom of this
right away.
Who possibly could have shot this Putin critic in the back right outside the Kremlin. Such a mystery. He was one of the suspects. 5 suspects. I think they were going to be arraigned, but I think now they've charged people.
Okay.
Yes. The main question many Russians want answered is who ordered the brazen assassination? Who could it be? Given the fact the shooting took place within sight of the Kremlin, among the most heavily guarded sites in Moscow, opposition figures have accused the government of complicity in the crime, which it has denied, of course. And if Putin says that he's not behind it,
then it must be true.
Mr. Nemtsov was one of the government's most persistent critics and was due to publish a report that he said would reveal the involvement of the Russian military in the war in Ukraine. And then weirdly, clumsily, he goes and gets shot in the back right in front of the Kremlin. And now some guy clumsily blew himself up just as they were...
How does one blow themselves up?
With a grenade in this case.
Oh.
Yes.
He was playing with a grenade and it just went off?
Clumsy Putin critics. Yes. Apparently. Okay.
Was Russia run by the mob?
Who could have ordered the code red? Who could it be?
Sounds like the Sopranos over there.
Yes.
Did you order the code red?
Mm-hmm. I did the job. Did you order the code red? Damn right I did.
Oh dear.
All right. Oh dear. 44 minutes after the hour. We roll along on the Sthephina Miller Show.
You gotta laugh, or you just cry all day, wouldn't you? It's the Sthephina Miller Show.
Oh my God, guess what time it is? I was so excitable, I tried to start the fun drive early. It's Free Speech TV Fun Drive time. Oh, look at my man whores modeling the new Sthephina Miller apron. Look at all the stuff that comes with that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, look, yeah, there's a pot holder, there's a this. What's that? Is that a beer holder?
It's a beer opener.
And there's a beer holder down here.
And it's a beer holder down here.
That's spectacular. All right, kids, we need to raise $270,000. It is fun drive time here at Free Speech TV to bring you all the great shows. Like, I can't gesture as well with my pot holder on. All the great shows like us and Bill Hartman, Bill Press, Tom Hartman,
Yep.
Amy Goodman.
Yep.
Right? This is your network.
Your network.
I said, out with my pot holder outstretched. Here's what happens this time. Check this out. Great premiums once again. You $60 tax deductible donation. You get the Free Speech TV travel mug. I love these. Sometimes I take a little roadie on my way to go do TV.
I might make my happy hour cocktail on this.
There you go. $120 or $10 a month. You get the Sthephina Miller Show apron. Check that out. Fabulous. $240 donation, or you can do $20 a month. You get the apron and the Free Speech TV t-shirt. Check that out. Check out that gorgeous black and white t-shirt. Right? $360, or you can do it at $30 a month. You get the apron, the Free Speech TV t-shirt, and the travel mug. And there, that $1,000 donation Lunch with Mama and the
Those
the
are
Mooks.
so much fun.
Yeah.
The next one's coming up in April.
April 17th, the
Yep.
next one is scheduled. Get in on that. And then my man whores here helpfully offered if you give a bigger donation, they will wear these aprons shirtless.
Shirtless.
Okay.
If we raise $10,000
Okay.
by tomorrow, one of us will be shirtless.
Yep.
$20,000 for both of us shirtless.
Exactly.
Get to
Wow.
donate, people.
Wow.
Get out those checkbooks.
You never know what might happen with me if
You're
we get enough money. Because I already went bra. I showed the bra on the happy hour. So let's see. Let's go.
Freespeech.org.
Do it. Hello, Free Speech TV land. Oh, look at you sipping seductively out of your Free Speech TV travel mug. It's fun drive time, everybody. Time to say thank you to Free Speech TV for all the great shows like Mom and the Mooks, Tom Hartman, Amy Goodman, Bill Press, etc.
Yep.
Look, Jerry in Minneapolis said, so I just donated $50 to Free Speech TV and chose to not take any premiums. I want all my donation to go to the cause.
Thank you,
I have enough
Jerry.
stuff. Thank you, Jerry. Every little bit helps.
He has enough stuff.
But if you ponied up $10 more, $60, you could get that travel mug. If you, how about $120 tax deductible donation? You get that fabulous Stephanie Miller Show barbecue
You
apron.
could cook some stuff with this.
Right? Mm-hmm. Let's see. Where was I? Oh, $240 donation. You get the Stephanie Miller Free Speech TV shirt and the barbecue. Yeah, apron. There you go. Where am I?
And the mug.
I'm getting all confused. $360 you get the apron, the T-shirt, and the travel mug, and $1,000 you get lunch with Mama and the Mooks.
And that's the
which
most
is
important meal you'll ever have in your entire life.
in your entire life. Okay, it's like the Last Supper practically. April 17th.
It's like the Last Supper, but without the betrayal.
Right, exactly.
But lots
Thank
of the
you.
blood of Christ.
April 17th is the last is the next one, and then there'll be more, or you can get it on a future one. Why not? It's time to say thank you for this corporate-free influenced television that you can only get here at Free Speech TV.
Yep.
Right?
You can't get this on MSNBC.
No, you cannot.
No.
Yeah, they're getting a little too corporate Hillary bashing for my taste. Just saying. We're a big tent here at Free Speech TV.
We are.
Yeah, exactly.
We got room for everyone.
Exactly. There's room for really fine programming.
And us.
And us. Freespeech.org, or you can call 877-378-8669. Freespeech.org. It's fun drive time. Say thank you, and we thank you.
Thank you.